right, welcome into another episode of the Clapp Trap. We have the Friday episode finishing off the week, and we've got some good stuff to talk about. The Bruins, another big win against the Rangers on the road, putting together two great road wins in a row. Team is on absolute fire now, 10-1, on the season. And we're going to start off talking all about them, but we're also going to talk about the Celtics, their recent loss to the Cavaliers. They have another game against a good team in the Bulls tonight, a team in which they beat them 120-102 last week. So we're going to talk about them as well. And then you got the Patriots game coming up this weekend on Sunday. Patriots against the Colts at home. Colts with a new quarterback, with a new offensive play caller. We're going to talk all about that, and then we'll finish off the show with the gambling picks, all the guys' picks, and everything we got there. But we're starting off with the Bruins, like I said, in this one. Man, I mean, it just keeps going. It keeps going. Once again, last night, Bruins underdogs in that one against the Rangers. I think Vegas at this point is just saying, man, at some point they got to lose. So we're just going to keep putting them as the underdog. So if you're a gambler, I don't know. Right now, you just keep riding this Bruins team. Keep putting it. I put it on the money line last night. It was at plus 110 for this Bruins squad. I don't know if you can bet against them right now. I don't know how you could. The amount of scoring this team is doing is fantastic. The way they're spacing the ice, the new offensive style that they have is clearly working. They're keeping the old defense, which worked before, and it's still working now. And you still haven't even gotten McAvoy back in this game or in this team yet. So there's a lot of good things to be thinking about with this Bruins squad. And I love being able to start off the show with them and how great they're doing recently with a good game, like I said, once again, against a Rangers squad that is a solid team this year. And this is a second win on the road, back-to-back really good wins after that Penguins win that you had earlier in the week. A game in which they gave up 4 goals in the second period and came firing back in the third period to regain to tie it up and then win the game in overtime. Great game there. I already talked about that on the Wednesday episode. Then you have last night, right? And this game starts off real chippy, I would say. Or the Rangers look like they were trying to bring the physicality to start off this one here. And it was smart. I think it's smart to try and get into a physical battle with this Bruins squad. You got to try and muck it up, right? You got to try and make it so that's harder for scoring, because this team is averaging 4.5 goals per game right now. Let that sink in for you. An NHL team averaging 4.5 goals per game right now through 12 games. That's insane. That's insane at this point. You're now or 2 through 11 games, whatever it is. You are seeing some of the best offensive hockey to start not only a Bruins season, but really anybody's season. I mean, other than Connor McDavid over there on the Edmonton Oilers going absolutely bananas, scoring already 12 goals, he's having the clear MVP start so far. This Bruins team overall is acting like, nobody can stop them from scoring. And obviously things will change. I'm sure they'll go through slumps, maybe even starting as soon as next game, they'll go through a slump or something like that. And we won't be talking about how great they are offensively and we have to get other players and all that kind of stuff. But right now, it feels great. It feels great to be a Bruins fan. I don't know what else you got to say about that. But you start off this one here with Ryan Lindgren just flying all over the ice, just smacking people left and right. This is the Ryan Lindgren that was involved in the Rick Nash trade a while ago. So a former Bruin and moved over to the Rangers and is a very solid physical defenseman for the Rangers. He goes out there and he absolutely crunches both Pastrnak and Bergeron early in the game. The Pastrnak one, he hits him, and in typical Pastrnak fashion, he just goes right after Lindgren again and instantly gets a penalty because he just can't take somebody hitting him. He has to go and try and attack that player. And you can talk about how close it was, how bang, bang, whatever. I think it was pretty clearly an interference call. He had gotten rid of it. He blindsides him from the side. And Pastrnak just needs to understand that in those moments, you need to get a cooler head, because it didn't backfire on us this time. They were able to kill the penalty, but that will happen in the future, right? And that, I think, is one of the major gripes that fans have about Pastrnak, is the fact that, I don't know, he kind of loses his head in those kind of moments. If one player hits him pretty good, he's going back after that guy instantly, and he might get a penalty for it, just because he's being a hothead at that point. We need you out on the ice, Pastrnak. You're one of, if not the only player that we have to say, this guy needs to be on the ice at all times. The least amount of penalties for him should be big. And you saw why, as of course, he comes right back and he's the one that scores that first goal. Now, this goal was crazy. This was an insane first goal for the Bruins. As Pastrnak just kind of skates it in up that left side, he shoulders off a defender, so he's feeling physical. Love to see that, a physical Pastrnak. He initiates the contact going into the zone, shoulders the defender off of him, skates further down, getting down towards the goal line basically, and just flips it backhand. A pretty solid shot towards the net. The thing went in just barely an inch over the left shoulder of Shesterkin. Or right shoulder. Sorry, he right shouldered it, tried to get up against the post. And I'm talking, there was only an amount of space for a puck to go through in there. And he actually got that goal. Insane. When you're hot, you're hot. You can't miss. That was a Pastrnak heat check type shot. Throw it towards the net, backhand that thing, and you got it up under the shoulder of the goaltender and the crossbar there. Talking about the smallest amount of space for him to be able to get that in. Insane. And the guy is on an absolute tear. That extends his point streak to 6 straight games. The guy's on an absolute monster tear to start off the season. You love to see it, and that's one of the reasons why they are the best goal-scoring team in the league right now. Pastrnak is one of those reasons, if not the main reason at this point, as I think he has, 7 or 8 goals and 11 or 12 assists at this point. Insane start through 11 games. Crazy to think. But yeah, it was kind of funny how that one actually trickled in there. You throw it towards the net and good things happen. You saw that multiple times in this game. Later on in this one, you saw that Frederick got a goal basically off of them just pounding the puck towards the net over and over and over again, and then eventually something goes in. This one, you throw it on net. Luckily, you get it into the absolute perfect spot. If you didn't see it, if you weren't able to watch the game last night, this one is worth going back and seeing just how little of an area that Pastrnak had to get this puck in. I can't believe that it went in over the shoulder. And apparently the Rangers bench couldn't either, because I don't know if you saw this too or heard this. They were actually contemplating challenging the goal, which was wild to me, because what happened was Shesterkin tries to push himself up against that post, raise his shoulder, and in doing so, he actually raised the goal off of the crease. So it came up a good inch or so up off the ice, and maybe it allowed for a little more space for that puck to be able to go in, which is great for the Bruins, because that was the goalie doing that. Nobody touching him. Nobody's in front of the net. Nobody's pushing anybody into that. It was just the goalie sliding into the post and lifting up the net just slightly. And that screws over them, and whatever, you did that to yourself. But the fact that they were even talking about it on the broadcast as, the Rangers are thinking about challenging this one. What are you even challenging? What are you looking at? It was your goalie who did that. If it would count, it should count. I don't 100% know the rules in this situation, but if the goaltender goes into that scenario and lifts the net up off of the ice enough where it gets dislodged, that should be a goal regardless. That should be goaltender interference the other way, and it should be a goal for the Bruins regardless. So I don't know. That one, I know they didn't end up doing it, and I'm just kind of yelling at them for no reason right now. But what were you thinking? What were you thinking even, contemplating challenging that call? Makes literally no sense to me. I don't understand it. I don't know. That was all on your goalie. And you think that you're going to actually challenge this one? The guys on the broadcast were obviously laughing at it. Like, do you think that there's even a chance that this could be not a goal? And they were like, nah, this is easily a goal. Clearly it was the goaltender's fault, but whatever. I know they didn't actually challenge it, so stop harping on them, Zach. It didn't actually happen. I just was like, in the moment, I'm thinking, like, is this really happening right now? Are they really about to think about challenging this call? I can't believe this. It's insane to me. But you go up 1-0. You battle through the rest of that first period. You go into the second period, and the Rangers come out hot. They came out firing in the beginning of that second period. It looked like they were trying to get back into that game, obviously, and they were able to do so with an absolutely perfect pass cross ice in the zone. Defense trying to work its way back. Absolutely perfect placement on the left side, just able to tap it past Allmark. You can't really fault Allmark there. Maybe you can get on the defense for letting them to get in with a 2-on-1 situation, but otherwise, perfect pass, perfect tip in. That goal tied it up 1-1, and it was a great job by the Rangers to get back in that game. They were just ready for it. They were wanting to get back into this game, obviously, and they came out firing in that second period. That happened. Tensions were flaring. Everything's getting crazy. And then you had Schneider just drop Frederick in the zone. Great hit by Schneider. Absolutely textbook. Hits him right in between, in the chest, right where you want him to, and just buries Frederick into the ground. Frederick, I think he kind of took offense to it a little bit. Not offense. I guess offense is not the right word here. But he was a little upset about it. You had Greer, though, was the one who comes in and instantly tries to fight Schneider. Well, not instantly. He kind of followed him a little bit, right? He skated a couple of strides and grabs Schneider on the back and says, hey, you want to go? And they went. And instantly, because Frederick was also trying to get over there to talk to Schneider after the hit, he also got involved in a fight as well. So instantly you have two fights going on at the same time. Broadcasters absolutely crushed it out of the park with the call. Now we have a Rangers-Bruins game, and you had an old school couple of fights going on, hockey battle in that one. Now, in that fight or in that situation, the Bruins end up getting a penalty, right? And the reasoning that we're hearing behind it is distance traveled by Greer. And if you look at it, you got to agree, I guess, if they're trying to get that out of the game, then by the letter of the law, they are correct. He skated a couple of strides after the Frederick hit. It was an absolutely clean hit. I 100% agree with this part of it. You shouldn't have to get into a fight for a clean, beautiful, between the numbers, burying hit. You should be able to go out there and absolutely destroy someone cleanly, and it shouldn't be a fight situation. The fight situation should be if you hit someone and it looks a little dirty. You went a little high, maybe you caught him under the chin or something like that. You went a little too low and you got him by the legs or something weird like that. Then that warrants a fight, in my opinion. But if you hit somebody cleanly, you can't go out there and just attack the guy for doing that. That's a part of hockey. That's what you should be doing. You got to keep your head up. If you are not keeping your head up, Frederick, entering the zone, and a defender comes and hits you right in the chest, that's on you, man. That's on you for not understanding the moment, not keeping your head up, not having situational awareness. So I completely understand that point. I don't want them taking more fighting out of hockey. Don't get me wrong. I want the sport to still be what it is. I want to be able to have those. But yeah, if the guy has a clean hit and then he's just skating to go back into the play and you chase him down, regardless of if you sucker punch him, get into, which that would be horrible, or if you just tap him on the shoulder and say, hey, let's go, and he decides to go with you, that's on you, man. That's on the Bruins for going after the player for what would have been a very clean hit, or it was a very clean hit. No penalty on the hit. You go back and you look at it. All the replays suggest very clean hit, but Greer goes after him anyways. I get it. Tensions are high. That was a very physical hit. It was a very physical game. There were some big hits throughout, and maybe Greer didn't get a good angle of it. He thought it was dirtier than it was. Who knows? In the moment, it's heated. Testosterone, adrenaline, all that kind of stuff is going to be into the fact or into the decision-making process. And yeah, maybe he made the wrong call there, but I don't know. I don't see how there's any way to complain about that one, obviously. You can't just go and attack somebody just because he laid a clean hit on your guy. You can't do that. That's not hockey. That's not. Hockey is being able to fight for your guys when something bad happens, but that was just a clean hit. You got to get the penalty there. But you're able to go and fight off that penalty. Bruins then regain the lead with a great wraparound by Lindholm. This guy is on absolute fire. Hampus Lindholm offensively is on absolute fire right now. Not only the game winner against the Penguins in overtime, snapping that one past, going, the length of the ice with the puck, zone to zone, scoring on that game in overtime against the Penguins, winning the game for the Bruins. But then in this game here, offensively, all over the place. In this one, wrapped it around, perfect pass to Coyle, taps it in, real easy goal. Bruins regain the lead 2-1 in that one. That man is on absolute fire. I'm still questioning his defense at times, but we know that when we got Hampus Lindholm, he is an offensive defenseman. That's what he is. That's what he does. So, you got to kind of live with some of the defensive mistakes that he does make because of how good he is offensively and what he's able to do there. So great job by him. He's on absolute fire. Rangers come right back with their defenseman Fox, and he gets a clean look on net. And I'm sorry, but Omar, as much as I love you, buddy, you got to save that one. You got to save that tying goal. He got an absolute clean look, clean lane, and just beat Omar over his right shoulder, I believe, with what should have been a savable puck. Or a savable shot, I feel like. So I'm sorry, Omar. I'm always one of your biggest defenders, but in this one, you got to save that, in my opinion. That's just me personally. I don't know how you guys feel out there about that, but that tying goal for the Rangers, putting it at 2-2, you got to save that one, Omar. You just have to. You have to. So that was a moment where, you're seeing them go back and forth in this second period, and they're moving forward, and it's a chippy game. It's very a ton of effort on both sides. You love to see that kind of stuff. And then, like I said earlier, you get the Frederick goal. Now, the Frederick goal was due to just pucks on net, in my opinion. They were just firing shots left and right in that the couple of basically shifts right there in that moment within that couple of minutes. It was just constant pressure by the Bruins, constant throwing the puck on net, seeing what can happen. Couple of good chances, couple of, just dump it on net, see what happened kind of chances. And then Frederick gets that one where there's a little bit of traffic. He throws it on net. Charlie Coyle, I believe, had to jump over the puck to get out of the way of it. And it screened Shesterkin enough and got by him. Great job there. That's Bruins hockey, a million shots on net. Something's going to go in, get a little bit of puck luck, and that works out for you. So happy to see that one. And then you had the Taylor Hall, great break-in, works his way past the defender, gets it over to Zacha in the middle. Zacha moves it over to DeBrusk. What a line, by the way. Zacha, DeBrusk, and Taylor Hall on one line. That's an interesting pairing there, Montgomery. I like it. I like it when it works out, obviously. Zacha with a great pass over to DeBrusk. DeBrusk able to bury the one-timer, and he's been playing great too. DeBrusk, as much as I had to complain about him last year and how, all that stuff about, Bruce Cassidy was too mean to him, so now he wants to get traded. He's requesting a trade. I was ready to get rid of him. I think everybody was. Most Bruins fans, I would assume, that weren't just diehard DeBrusk fans were saying, see you later, goodbye. If you don't want to play on this team, then go ahead. See you. We'll get rid of you, and we'll get something in here. But now he's playing great. He's got rah Montgomery behind him, and he is doing great. And I gotta be honest, I said this in the last episode. At this point, I don't know. I think I gotta admit that I'm completely wrong on the change. The change was good. The change to Montgomery has seemed to really, change this offense at least into some kind of, so far, juggernaut offensively. They're scoring unbelievable amounts in this one. Now 10-1 on the year. Lindholm ended it with a nice, almost full ice empty netter, by the way, to get his goal in the game. That was a great job by him. But the Bruins, they have a 6-point lead on the Sabres. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? For the Atlantic Division at 10-1 right now. They have a 4-point lead over the second best team in the Eastern Conference, the New Jersey Devils. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? And Boston has 50 goals in 11 games, which is 7 more than anyone else in the Eastern Conference. 50 goals. 50 goals in 11 games. That's crazy. We're getting close to 5 goals a game average. That's nuts. You're on a crazy streak right now. This is a crazy train we're riding right now, because this Bruins squad is just scoring like crazy. They've also only given up 28 goals, which is tied for the second least in the Eastern Conference. So you're still playing that good defense, and they keep talking about it on the broadcast. You bring in Montgomery. He keeps guys like Joe Sacco on the assistant coaching staff, and they keep that defensive squad the way it is. Keep the defense intact, and you move and change a few things about the offense and the way that we attack things. And now you got 50 goals through 11 games while only giving up 28 goals on the other side. So good defense, great offense, best offense in the entire league right now, and their defense is playing good too. The only other team that is putting up similar type season right now is the Vegas Golden Knights. Go figure. The Vegas Golden Knights are 10-2 with 40 goals scored and only 23 against. They have the least amount of goals given up of anyone in the entire league. 23 goals against. They are playing great defense, and I wonder why that is. Oh, maybe it's because they brought in a coach like Bruce Cassidy, who is a great defensive-minded coach, and then his offense is good enough, usually. It seems to be good enough. So 40 goals for them, 23 against. They're playing great. They're 10-2. We're 10-1. We're still seeing that possibility in the future. I mean, I want nothing more than that to be the case. Like I keep saying, though, obviously a lot of hockey to be played, a lot of games to be played in this one. There's going to be, lows for this team. There's going to be lows for the Vegas Golden Knights. The season is going to go up and down. Nobody can expect them to be staying at such a crazy rate. Obviously, you're going to drop off a little bit, but hey, you do something at the trade deadline, bring in a couple of more weapons for this team, a defensive defenseman, an offensive player that can go in that top six forwards, maybe, something like that. You got to be buyers. You got to be willing to sell off some of your young assets, draft picks, whatever it is. Go all in. Don Sweeney, please, go all in on this team. There should be no holding back. There should be no just, we only get one piece and we don't get the other one that we needed like last year. You get Hampus Lindholm, but you don't go and get an offensive player for the team. No, we need to do both. We need to do everything. Push it all in. I need you, Don Sweeney, to be that guy that is ready to go above and beyond to get the best run we can possibly get out of this team. Because, man, they're showing it to you to start off the season. Like I said, still a lot of hockey to be played, but they are showing it to you this season. You got Pastrnak, in the top 3 of points in the entire league. You got Linus Ullmark, who's 8-0 to start the season, 2 more wins than any other goaltender in the league. Second place is Shesterkin, by the way, for the Rangers with 6. So this team is playing really well. And once again, you got rid of Bruce Cassidy, Don Sweeney, and yes, it's looking like it was the right call. Admittedly, apparently I'm wrong. This team needed to get that newer, more upbeat coach who was going to change up the offensive style, keep the defensive style. It's working. Please go all in on this team. Please, Don Sweeney, please go all in. I know you're listening to me. I know you are, obviously. But man, I'm loving where this team is at. I don't see how you couldn't right now. If you're a Bruins fan, I don't see how you could be upset with this start. It's almost physically impossible. There's just no way, right? You can't be upset with this one. So happy to see the Bruins where they're at. We'll see what happens as they keep going forward. I think I'm just going to keep betting on the Bruins to win no matter what. I think that you have to until they really fall off here. I don't know. Maybe you should be betting the over in every single game too, because they're almost averaging 5 goals per game. Unheard of. Through 11 games, 50 goals. What are we talking about? This is crazy. All right. Time to move on. We got another team that's playing right now, and that's the Celtics. They just had a tough loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers again after losing to them the week before. This is a tough time or a tough opponent, it seems, for this Celtics squad. And it's making me wonder, is this Cleveland Cavaliers at least starting lineup perfectly made to beat a team like the Celtics? It seems like it so far. They are getting, 1 through 5, their starting lineup, it's absolutely great. I mean, everybody on that starting five can contribute in multiple ways, and it's all led by Donovan Mitchell. You got Darius Garland, who was obviously going off in this one as well, but Jared Allen, Evan Mobley. This team, this team is very good in the starting five. I think that the only thing right now that I could say, you know, brings us apart is maybe the fact that the Celtics could create a better bench unit, right? They could get a second unit that would be better than what the Cavaliers have, as long as they mix and match and make things correct, or are, and that could be the difference in a playoff series, I think, personally. So right now, the Cavs, though, you got to be thinking about them as they've figured out the Celtics. Obviously, both of these games they won. Now, I understand this one went into overtime, and it maybe shouldn't have, right? I mean, that was an absolute monstrous dunk by Jason Tatum to tie things up at the end of the game. And should he have been fouled there? Should that have been an and one situation? I mean, it seemed like it. It certainly seemed like Jared Allen went a little too hard into Tatum. And of course, Tatum is going to complain about it and ask for the call regardless. But if you look at it objectively, I think there's a case to be made that you could have gotten a foul call there. And then all of a sudden Tatum's on the line for an extra one and put a chance to put you up one instead of having to go into overtime, in which they ended up losing that one. Cavaliers started off really strong in the overtime, and they were able to handle that game there. So I don't know. There was a case to be made, if you ask me, for Jason Tatum getting fouled on that monstrous dunk, drive down the lane, slam. Great job by him. I was very impressed with that one, obviously. Not impressed with some of the other decision making right before that and the half court and all that kind of stuff. But I think that there obviously could have been a case to be made for Tatum getting fouled in that situation. Probably should have been put on the line with a chance to give the team a lead that late in the game and a chance to win it, right? That's how it should have been. We all think. I think most of us think that. But like I said, this Cavaliers team is no joke. Between Garland, Mitchell, LeVert, Karis LeVert is also in there. He's the one who kind of destroyed us last time. Him and Donovan Mitchell both going off for 41 points each. You had Evan Mobley in there. He does his thing. Jared Allen, I think, had 14 and 14 in this game. Great job by him. So their starting lineup was insane, and it continues to be insane. It's their bench unit that, we see what happens. I mean, Kevin Love, what are you really going to get from him later on in the year? I think he had a great year last year playing for that Cavaliers team. Now coming off the bench, how much does he have left in the tank? What are they going to be able to do for a second unit? When it comes down to a playoff series, I think that's when the second units really get involved. Any given night, your starting five can just win you a game. But when you get into a playoff series, a best of seven, a best of five, whatever it is, you're going to have to leak into that bench unit, and they're going to have to give you some big minutes. And I think that that's where the Celtics could come out on top if it was a head-to-head matchup against this Cavaliers team. But man, they easily sprung themselves into a top tier in the Eastern Conference just by getting Donovan Mitchell and Karis LeVert on that squad. They are legit. They're legit. The Cavaliers are, and you have to be worried about them going forward. The only problem that I've been having right now with Mazzulla in the way that he's, doing these lineups and things like that is it seems like, and just like I thought with coaching, the players are kind of making the decision. Seems like he's sticking it to a shorter rotation, which maybe he's just going off of how Ime was doing it last year. Celtics ended up, tightening up to a very short rotation, and that's what ended up getting them back into things and into the playoffs and all that kind of stuff. And maybe you can say that also kind of tired them out a little bit more, and that's why in the finals they kind of started to lose it. And couldn't compete the way that they were the entire year because you didn't use as many other players throughout the regular season when you were trying to force your way back into the conversation. Maybe that's the case. But now it seems like Mazzulla's going with the same kind of thing. I mean, you got Peyton Pritchard, whatever you want to say. I mean, I know we got a lot of guards on this team, but Peyton Pritchard, third straight DNP in a row, did not participate, did not play in this one. You had Noah Vonleh on the bench as well. Same with Blake Griffin. I get it. You're not getting a ton out of those guys, but still, being able to give the starters, give your big minute guys a little bit of a rest, try and throw something else in there, see what happens. I'm not saying do it in the fourth quarter when it's game time and you need to be able to get your certain guys out there, but mix them in through the second quarter, mix them in through the third quarter, give your guys a little bit more rest and see what you can get through there, because that obviously came back to bite us a little bit at the end of last year. And then in this one, you got guys like Grant Williams going for a season high 31 minutes in this game right out the gate when Malcolm Brogdon only had 24. And Grant Williams was in foul trouble. He ended up with 5 fouls in this game. So I don't know. That's one thing right now that I'm looking at it and saying, I guess Ime would have, maybe been able to at least tell the big time players, hey, I'm going to make you sit right now and I need to have Vonleh go in there. I don't know. Is that really the case? We're going to have to see. You need a larger sample size than what they're at. You're 7 games in this season. And we officially know that Ime Udoka is not coming back. So interim coach Mazzulla is now officially head coach Mazzulla. I don't know. Is that what they're going to do? Should they do that? I don't know if they should or not. Because he's just kind of a placeholder, right? Nobody thought that you were getting this great new coach to come in here and he was going to revitalize the team with his play calling and things like that. Everyone wanted Ime Udoka back, assuming that he's not a complete scumbag. And we still don't know if he's a complete scumbag or not. We're going to find that out. I can't wait for his first press conference once he is with the Nets. But now you're seeing what this team can be when the players just kind of have no force above them to tell them no. I don't know. This might be the start of that. So we're going to keep an eye on that here at the Clapp Trap. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be keeping an eye on this Celtics team and what they're able to do going forward. Obviously, a big game tonight against the Bulls as they're trying to get back on track after losing 3 out of their last 4. So we'll see what happens. Bulls did beat them 120-102 last week. That team is also legit over there. They've got a lot of good weapons. So we'll see what this team can do, what this Celtics squad can do. Get some better rebounding there. Start trying to box out Vucevic. I know he's a beast down there in the paint, but 23 rebounds last game. You got to slow him down a little bit. Try and get some more rebounding in there, though it's really hard to do without Rob Williams in there. It's really hard to do. That's why I think you need to throw in the Noah Vonlehs, though, or the Blake Griffins of the world. Try and get a little bit more, out of those big men. Give Al Horford a little more rest. Make it so that Grant Williams doesn't have to go out there and act like he's a center or a power forward or something. He's not. He's pretty big, but he's not that big. So I think that you need to kind of switch up the lineups a little bit and see what they can do. Get these other guys more minutes, and we got to get back on track here, obviously. 4-3 on the season. Not that great. Got to get back on track. All right, we got one last team to talk about here. We are going to talk about the Patriots a little bit to finish off before we get into the gambling segment. We have got the Patriots going against the Colts this weekend on Sunday at home. 3-4-1 Colts come to play against the Patriots, who are 4-4 at this point. And it's going to be an interesting one. I think that I talked about it earlier. I mentioned it in the intro. This Colts team is now going through not only having a brand new quarterback in there in Sam Ehlinger after benching Matt Ryan for the remainder of the season. And I'm surprised that they didn't try to trade him or anything. Poor Matt Ryan. He's just going to have to ride off into the sunset now, because I don't think that Ehlinger is anywhere near better than him, but maybe they're going to get a spark from him. You didn't see a ton from Ehlinger in the last game. He has a little bit of an arm. He can get the ball down the field. I think that he wants to be able to run the ball more. Ehlinger does, but I don't look at him as a running quarterback. So I'm not worried about the Patriots in that sense, because we know that this team can't handle true running quarterbacks. That's just a fact. That's true running quarterbacks always beast on this team, on this Patriots team. But I don't think Ehlinger is that, though I do think that he wants to run a little bit. Now, the other thing that was changed for the Colts, obviously, they fired their offensive coordinator, and now you got Frank Wright, who's going to be going in there and doing the play calling and doing everything there. So maybe things will change up a little bit for that squad, but they're very banged up. I don't even think Jonathan Taylor is going to play in this game. It doesn't seem like he's going to. He didn't practice multiple times this week. We'll see if he practices today. If he does, then that might change things, obviously. But He hasn't practiced all week leading up to this. I believe it's an ankle injury that he's dealing with. So that is always tough to come back with for a running back specifically. Now, last year, when we faced off against the Colts, Jonathan Taylor was great. He was a big part of the reason why the Colts were able to win that. So having him out of the game is going to be huge for this team, this Patriots team. Happy to see that. But are they going to be able to do enough in this one? I'm hoping that they will. I'm hoping that a little bit of home cooking for Mac Jones is going to be a good thing this time. I'm hoping that you're not going to get the bozo fans booing Mac Jones a few throws in just because they want Bailey Zappi back again. Let's calm that all down. If there was any Patriots fans that are going to this game that I could reach out to at this point, give Mac Jones a chance. Try and back him up. We're still trying to win games here. And whether you like it or not, Mac Jones is the quarterback of this team right now. That's just a fact. And you need to try and stack some wins to try and get to the ultimate goal of making the playoffs once again. Make the show, see what can happen. Maybe you get matched up against a team that's in a bad situation, and maybe you can get one over. Could you imagine a playoff win? How much that would do for the confidence of this team overall this year? That would be outstanding. Now, it's going to be a really tough road. It's going to be a really, really, really tough road for them to even be able to get to the playoffs. But it starts with being able to stack wins against teams that you have a good chance against. And they have a great chance against this Colts team just because of how bad both teams kind of are, right? I mean, the Patriots, I love just messing up team names, by the way, when I get into these rants. The Patriots are obviously, they've played some good defense throughout, right? They've played some really good defense throughout this season at times. I think they can do it again, once again against a rookie quarterback in Sam Ehlinger. That's usually a good sign for Bill Belichick, regardless of how you feel about Bill Belichick. One thing that he can always do is mess with rookie quarterbacks. And you saw it even against Zack Wilson last week, who's not technically a rookie quarterback, but he's basically a rookie quarterback. That kid got to the point where he was seeing ghosts like Sam Darnold once again. Can this Patriots squad, especially at home, get in there, get some pressure? Matthew Judon looking at you, hoping that we can continue getting good pressure so that the cornerbacks don't have to cover for as long. You're getting some pressure, you're maybe knocking the ball out. You're getting the ball, fluttering up into the air. Get those kind of interceptions, things like that. The defense is going to be huge in this one, but I'm also looking for Mac Jones to come back and get a little bit of that home cooking, get a little bit of the crowd behind him. Please, I'm begging you guys, get behind Mac Jones in this one. I think that it can work out for this team. I don't know if you're going to have Devontae Parr. I don't think you're going to have Devontae, but I think that you can go Jacoby Myers, Tyquan Thornton. Maybe you get Kendrick Bourne involved for once. I know that he's getting a good snap share, but get him involved, get him the ball. Move this ball, score some points, show that you can actually be legitimate on offense. And I don't care if it's against the Colts. I don't care what you got to do. Just get some good momentum going. I'm expecting a little bit of a bounce back from Mac Jones. Now, maybe that's just my heart speaking, but I'm expecting him to have a solid game at home in this one. I just am. That's where I'm at. And you'll probably see that on my gambling picks later on as we get into that. But I have a good feeling in this one that the Patriots will be able to once again hold on and get a win in this one. Now, they are 5.5-point favorites at home. So that's pretty big for this Patriots team to have that much of an advantage, because as much as I'm feeling good about this, we still have to remember there is no team that this Patriots squad can face that you should feel confident that they're going to get a win. No team. Maybe I'll give you the Jets at home next week. Or not next week, in 2 weeks after the bye. Maybe I'll give you that one, as you can be confident that they should win that game. But still, I don't know. This team on a week-to-week basis could go out there and throw a dud of a game. It's still in their DNA right now. Unfortunately, that's where we're at. So I have high hopes. I think that they can do it, but it all comes down to whether or not they can. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. That's going to do it for today's episode. Just want to say thank you to everyone tuning in. I really appreciate it. But now it's time to get into the gambling picks of the show. All right, here we go. We've got some good ones here for you. I've made my picks already, and I'm switching up my strategy this time. I'm switching up the strategy to try and get back into it because I've been playing or giving like absolutely terrible picks. I got to be honest with you guys. I've been giving absolutely terrible picks. I'm pretty ashamed of it if I'm being honest. And so I'm switching my strategy up. I'm switching the strategy so that, maybe I can get back in this thing. Because right now, if you look at the standings, which I have not been posting them as much as I probably should, I get that. I need to post the standings. But right now, our boy Dan Mendez has sprung himself into first place, but it's not pretty. The reason I'm not putting this out right now is because it's not pretty. I mean, he's leading the show at 18-22. Second place is Cam at 17-22-1. I'm in third at 16-23-1. And then you got Matt bringing up the rear at 14-25-1. Everybody's under 500. It's gross. It's gross. The podcast, the show, radio show, it's not doing good. It's not doing good for the picks right now. But we're going to try and bounce back. And it all starts with me changing up my strategy. I've got all player props for you this time. I'm not going with spreads. I'm not going over-unders. I'm going player props. We're going to see how things go as I get back into it and try and get my groove back. We're going to try and do it with player props here. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So I don't know. This is going to be a new venture for me. Never done a full card of player props. I don't even know if I've ever thrown you any player props when it comes to the gambling competition. So we'll see how this goes. But I am starting off my picks with David Montgomery over 13.5 receiving yards. That's the Chicago Bears running back, David Montgomery. Now, Montgomery has had 13 or more receiving yards in 5 out of 6 games he's been healthy for. He was injured in week 3 he got a couple of carries. Then he got injured in that game. He missed week 4. So those ones, in my mind, don't count. He's gotten 13 or more receiving yards in 5 out of 6 games where he was fully healthy. Only one did he not get a pass attempt to him at all. All the other ones, multiple pass attempts, at least 13 yards receiving. The Dolphins gave up 50 receiving yards to Lions running backs last week. They gave up 32 receiving yards to Steelers running backs the week before that. The Bears love to dump the ball off to their running backs. And even with going out there and getting their new shiny wide receiver in Claypool, I still think that David Montgomery is going to get a couple of receiving attempts, and he's going to get over that 13.5. So give me David Montgomery over 13.5 receiving yards to start off my picks. The next one I'm going with, Joe Mixon, over 22.5 receiving yards for the Bengals. Mixon has had 23 or more receiving yards in each of his last 3 games. Bengals are trying to get him involved. They love getting Mixon involved, not only in the run game, but also in the pass game this year, something that they didn't do a lot of last year. This Panthers team that they're going up against has given up 46 passing yards or receiving yards to the Falcons running backs last week. And I think that they're just going to keep getting Mixon involved early and often in this game plan. And I think that that's going to work out for us. So Joe Mixon over 22.5 receiving yards is pick number 2. Pick number 3, Josh Allen, probably the best quarterback in the league. Josh Allen over 278.5 passing yards. That's a lot. That's a lot of passing yards. Now, Josh Allen has passed for 297 or more passing yards in 5 out of 7 games this year. 297 or more in 5 out of 7 games. He's coming off a win, but a poor offensive effort. Throwing 2 interceptions, only had 13 completions for 218 yards. And I think that he's going to want, not only he, but the rest of the Bills offense is going to want to bounce back big. They're going to want to do this against a Jets team. Now, this Jets squad has not given up anything more than 275 passing yards in a game all season, but they've also not played against any high-powered offenses, really. I mean, when they played the Dolphins, they didn't have Tua in week 5. When they played the Bengals, the only other team that's been pretty good offensively, they threw for 275 yards. Burrow threw for 275 yards. And when they played the Ravens, another good offensive team, that was week 1. So I don't really count that as they were getting into the season. So give me Josh Allen over 278.5 passing yards, as I think he's going to go nuts in this one, beat up on the Jets, and prove once again that they are probably the most dominant offensive team in the league right now. Give me that one. All right, here's where we go into like a little bit of a gut check, a little bit of a heart pick right now. I'm taking Mac Jones over 211 and a half passing yards in this game against the Colts. It's a gut call. It's a bet with my heart pick, so take that for what it is. Patriots and Mac are still struggling on offense to get something going, but they're getting that home cooking coming in. Feeling like Mac is going to be able to pass for like 250 yards, have 2 touchdowns, that kind of a game. That's what I'm feeling in my heart. That's what I want to happen. So take that once again for what it is. But I'm taking Mac Jones over 211 and a half passing yards in this game against the Colts. Last pick I'm going with Kyler Murray over 33 and a half rushing yards in his game for the Cardinals. Murray has had 42 rushing yards. Oh man, I'm not even reading my own stats correctly. Murray has had 42, at least 30 rushing yards in his last 4 games, including 10 attempts for 100 yards against this Seahawks team in week 6. With Hopkins back and Rondale Moore stepping up to a bigger role, Seattle's going to have to keep a lot more defensive backs on the field and opening up the running lanes for Kyler. Like I said, Kyler, a couple of weeks ago, playing the Seahawks, had 10 rushing attempts for 100 yards. He's done 30 rushing yards or more in the last 4 games. So I think that he is going to be able to have some moments here. Like I said, Hopkins is what really opens things up. Rondale Moore is getting more opportunities because of Hopkins. Having both of those receivers on the squad is going to open things up for Kyler to get some running lanes, I think, in my opinion. So I'm taking Kyler Murray over 33 and a half rushing yards for my final pick. So those are my picks right there. I'm going with 5 of the player prop picks. We're going to see how it goes. I haven't been doing good on my other picks. I haven't been seeing the board really well. I also haven't been doing that good because I've had a lot of things going on in my own personal life over these last 3 weeks. So maybe you could say that that's a part of the reason why I haven't been making good picks. We'll see how things go. I'm going with the player props in this one, trying to get back on track, trying to give you a winning week. We'll see how it goes. Next person that I got to get into, though, we're going to give you Mendez's picks. He's the leader in the clubhouse right now, so let's get into his picks right now.
Happy week 9, take 2. The first one's got to play. First play, New England, -5.5 against the Colts. I'll always take Bill Belichick against a rookie quarterback. Especially, Colts are struggling. They're falling apart. Fired their offensive coordinator, traded Naheem Hines, probably no Jonathan Taylor. It's going to be at home. New England knows they need this one. I think they're going to jump out big on them. I actually have another play in that game. Jacoby Myers, over 53.5 receiving yards. I think the Colts are going to try to stop the run. They know Stevenson's on fire lately. No Devontae Parker, which is huge. Mac always gives Myers double-digit targets. He's gone over this line, I believe, every single game they played with Mac, so I like that one a lot. Third play, Aaron Rodgers under 255.5 passing and rushing yards. He's only passed over 250 yards once all year. He doesn't run the ball. So, I mean, I think if they're down a couple weapons, I just see them really running the ball, kind of control the clock. Detroit can probably move the ball on them, too. So I think it's going to be a kind of a low-scoring game. I just think it's going to be very run-heavy. Fourth play, Travis Etienne over 78.5 rushing yards against the Raiders. Raiders are a mess right now. They're falling apart. Jaguars, Lawrence has been good lately, but I think they're going to want to really establish the run. Etienne's been on fire. I think that line's too low. He's the type of back that could take that on one play. I'll take that. And the last one, Justin Fields over 49.5 rushing yards versus the Dolphins. Last 5 games, he's had over 60, I believe. They're running design plays for him. He's on fire lately. Dolphins struggling a little bit. Lack of weapons always calls Fields to run a little bit more. I'll take over 49.5 rushing yards. All right, let's have a winning week later.
All right, that's the number 1 in the clubhouse right there. Number 1 in the standings, Mendez coming in hot with some more player props, and we'll see how things go there. Like you said, that was take 2 because on the first take, he forgot one of his plays, but he got them all in there. Likes the Patriots, likes Jacoby Myers, likes Travis Etienne, likes Fields rushing. He's got some good ones in there. So he's been on a hot streak lately. Follow along with him if you want to win some money. we'll see how things go. Now, somebody who's also been on the lower side of things, on a not so hot, on a cold streak right now, just like myself, it's Cam. So let's get to Cam's picks next.
Hey y'all, it's Cam here with the picks for the week again. We got all 5 in college this week. We'll start with Charlotte plus 16 versus Western Kentucky. Charlotte fired their coach and the interim coach made some changes, and now they seem like they're a lot better team, so I'll take the 16 points. We got Kansas -1 versus Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has had a bunch of injuries on both sides of the ball, and Kansas is coming off the bye week. So I think that's a good spot for them. We got Tennessee plus 8.5 versus Georgia. I just think these teams are more even than that, so anything over a touchdown is a good bet for me. I'll take Vandy plus 7 versus South Carolina. I don't think South Carolina is very good, and Vandy's desperate to win an SEC game. But I think they have a real chance to win. I'll take the 7 points. And last is UAB, so Tech-On versus UTSA. UTSA likes to throw the ball. So UAB has a really good secondary, so I think they can shut that down. To recap, we got Charlotte plus 16, Kansas -1, Tennessee plus 8.5, Vandy plus 7, UAB pick.
All right, there we go. Cam's going all back to college football, trying to get himself back on track as well. We'll see how he does. Once again, Matt was not on time with his picks, so we'll have to get those ones tweeted out on the website, on the Twitter. Follow along at the Clapp Trap if you want to see those picks and more. But that's going to do it for today's show. I just want to say thank you to everyone tuning in once again. That was everyone's favorite gambling competition. We'll see how the guys do. Hope everyone has a great weekend. I will be back again next week to talk more about everything going on in the world of sports. So, see you later.